Welcome back to the second session of our study. We're talking about why, answering the biggest questions of life. Today we're going to talk about a big question. Why should I even believe in God in the first place? You know, it's funny, two people can look at the same information and draw radically different conclusions. I'm reminded of a story from the 1960s where a cosmonaut from the old Soviet Union, where the enforced religion was atheism, and this cosmonaut was part of the crew that first orbited the Earth. When he returned to the Earth, he said, rather sarcastically, "Well, I got above the Earth and I didn't see God." Someone said, well, if he had gotten out of his spacesuit, he would have seen God. But a few years later, the United States astronauts had circled the moon. And as they came back around from the dark side of the moon and saw Earth again for the first time in several hours, the first words out of their mouth were to quote the Bible, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Most people intuitively, looking at the world around them, believe in God. But it's a fair question to ask, why should I believe in God? How can I really be sure? Joseph Stalin was the infamous dictator in the Soviet Union. Again, they enforced atheism. His daughter grew up in the Kremlin, but later she would write, "I was the princess of the Kremlin, but I could not live without God in my heart." Most people just know there's a God. Mao Zedong, who was a leader of atheist China, said, "Out in the measureless darkness, I, Mao Zedong, say to this ageless earth, who is the maker of this universe? And if there is a maker, how may I, Mao Zedong, come to know him?" He wrote that as a young man, but it's a great question. How can I be sure there's a God, and how can I come to know him? How can I really believe in God? Well, I want to give you two reasons I think you can believe in God. First of all, there are some reasons from the head. To me, to believe in God just makes rational sense. And let me tell you why I think it makes sense. Because the universe has so much design. In fact, many people have coined the phrase, it is intelligently designed. Scientists who look at the universe are increasingly coming to the conclusion that it couldn't have happened by accident. It's so complex, it's so intricate, it's so detailed, and it works together in such a perfect fashion that it just appears to have been designed. There's an old philosophical argument for God known as the cosmological argument. It goes like this: what created the universe? Something. Something did. And where there is that idea of something, an ultimate cause for every effect that we see, well, that is where we find the reality of God. And you don't have to be a scientist to look around and just see order and design in all the world. R.C. Sproul is a theologian, and he was talking about the probability that chance could have created all that we know in this world. He said, you know, if you take a coin and you flip it, what's the probability that it'll be heads and not tails? Well, you'd say it's a 50-50 chance. But did chance cause it to become heads and not tails? No, chance didn't cause it, because chance is simply a mathematical possibility. Chance is not a force. Chance is not an entity. What caused the world? The naturalists would have us believe that everything we see in the world simply came out of nothing. That nothing plus time plus chance equals everything. And when you think about it, it just doesn't add up. You know, if you were to take a book, maybe this book, or a book like this one, and all the pages and profound writings that's contained in this book, and what if you were to ask me, where'd you get this book? And I were to tell you, well, a funny thing happened the other day. There was a huge explosion out in the country. And right next to where this huge factory exploded, there was a lumber mill. And simultaneously, there was an explosion at a lumber mill, and all the logs flew into space, flew into the air. And at the very same time, a couple of miles away, there was another explosion at a junkyard. And so all this metal flew into the air, and the metal hit the wood and cut it into paper. and then maybe nearby an ink factory exploded and ink flew in the air, and simply out of chance, the metal and the ink and the paper all together just flew in a chaotic cloud, and I was walking in the woods and this book just fell out of the sky. Well, you would tell me that doesn't make any sense at all. I can look at a book and know that somebody wrote the book. If I'm walking on a beach and I see Harry loves Sally and a big heart around it, well, I know somebody went there and drew that in the sand. It didn't just happen. The wind didn't cause that. The waves didn't cause that. It's an intelligent communication. It means somebody did it. When you look at the world around us, it is far more profound than a simple love message on the beach or even the world's most profound book. In fact, every cell in our body is more intricately designed than the world's greatest computers. Could it have happened by chance? Did time plus nothing and chance cause everything to exist that exists? Francis Crick won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of DNA. He was asked, what are the possibilities of a single molecule of DNA coming into existence by chance? You know what his answer was? 0.0. Chance doesn't create anything. The Bible has a better answer. The Bible says in Hebrews 11 and verse 3, by faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. You think about our world. There's so much design in it. Look at the sun. It's 93 million miles from the earth. If we were just a little closer, the earth would burn up. If it was a little further out, we'd freeze to death. The moon orbits the earth at 200,000 miles, causing the tides in our oceans to come in just so far, but not too far. If it was closer, the continents could overflow with water. If it was further away, the tides wouldn't exist as they do.